Hello, everybody. We're about 4 minutes late. That's our bad, because it wouldn't be a pre-show if we didn't have a little bit of technical difficulties because we're bowlers first, and then we're technical guys about 58th. Okay, in the list of things that we can do, and that we're good at. But welcome our special guest, Graham.
We're here. Welcome, house fans.
You get to be a part of a pre-show, and you're the 3 seed for tomorrow.
3 seed for tomorrow. Be gentle for me today, but we'll get through it.
So we get to get some insight from a guy who made the telecast. I bowled him today. We got a bunch of different insight. We got a lot of things to talk about. We got new faces that we don't see that often. A bunch of lefties.
A lot of lefties.
A lot of lefties, which we love.
We specialize in that.
We love that. We love that. We know all about the lefties. We've been talking about them a lot. So we will just get straight into it. Our first match is Taki Hanrahan, who's usually one of the co-hosts on the show, but he snuck on the show. I didn't sneak on the show. I missed by 4 pins. Bowling against Michael Martell, who last year, Michael Martell actually was the 2 seed of the Masters, and then he got to the title match and he lost to Anthony Simon. So Michael not having a great year until this week. I'm sure nerves are in play, but I'm sure he's also a little comfortable because he's been on this TV pair before. What do you think we got looking at the first match today, Graham?
I think you touched on it before, where he kind of struggled this year up until this point. Last year he struggled up until this point at the Masters.
Yep.
So he strikes a lot in this building. He has experience on this pair. I thought he bowled a pretty good.
Yep.
Both against Simon and the match prior, but I don't think anything was stopping Simon this time.
Right.
But will someone stop him tonight?
You look at any step, who it is, it's hard being the first match because you got to run a step ladder. Either if it's Belmo or not, and then you got Michael, this is second telecast, going up against Packy, who's making his second telecast here this week. So either one of them, it's going to be hard to run the ladder. And if you look at betting odds, guys, as always, we don't bet, but we are going to talk about the betting odds because you guys are all a bunch of degenerates. We're degenerates too. So if you guys want to bet, Michael Martell is plus 1,800 to win tonight, which is just a massive odds. And then Packy's at 650, so he's the heavy favorite of this match. I think Packy was minus 180 against Martell tonight, and he had a pin difference there. So, I got to rock with my boy early on. Not because I'm biased, because I always try to be biased whenever we do the pre-show. I try to be journalist Keven first. But, when you just look at the two comparisons, Packy's one of the best guys on tour, and he has been for a couple of years now. Martell just bowling good this week. And I just think I always give the edge to the guy with more experience who's a little more comfortable. When me and Packy bowled against each other, we had the crowd going crazy. I expect that again tonight. Wink, wink, hint, hint. He wants to do that again. I think that's going to play in Packy's favor and a little bit against Martell. I think, if you bowled against Packy in the first match and everyone's quiet to take it off for you, and then Packy gets up and everyone's cheering, does it not get in your head a little bit? Like, he's got to a little bit.
You want the fans on your side, and when they're louder for your opponent more than you start thinking about that. You don't think about what's going on in the lanes. That thought, it gets in, it stays in there until they're on your side.
Right, I agree.
But, Packy's been on TV in this atmosphere. He thrived in it. Martell, I don't know.
Really?
What I do love about this first match is he averaged 260. Both blocks of
game one, which is huge. I bowled against him game one, and he shot 250 at me.
That's a hard score to beat for anybody.
But you come over here, that was on the main bay. We're over here on the arena bay. The right lane's tricky. Everyone's talking about it. Lefties, righties. The right lane is super tricky. And also, last year, Martell, when he made the show, he didn't bowl on this right lane because they did it to where the right lane was on the left pair and the left lane was on the right pair. I don't know how they did that, so there was no ball return in the middle. So he bowled on that right lane, and that's been the tricky one for everybody. So, I'm curious to see how they're going to break them down. There's 4 lefties on the team today. And Martell was throwing reactive, short pin reactive balls from way left. I wonder if he tries to do that, because if he does, he's just going to make active ball reaction better. I would imagine.
The big everyone's ball reaction.
Because he's going to be the furthest left out of all the lefties. You got to think you got a bunch of two-handers. They're going to hook it more than Martell will.
Martell got all his pins playing left, playing straight. No
And I
question.
think he's going to live or die by that. So I don't know. I think Martell's bowling good, and I'm not going to say he's blown out by any means. But I think Packy's just going to have the experience edge on this one, to where Packy might not throw a bad shot, but Martell might have one that's a little out the window, and then he's a little behind, and he go from there. So I'm going with Packy personally. That's who I'm going with. Guys, I'll try to get up a poll here in a second, as I was a little behind on doing what we're supposed to be doing when we're doing it. But we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I'm going Martell.
Well, one thing I want to bring up that you guys may not know, that every bowler on this telecast gets 8 minutes of practice on the TV pair. So they can break the lanes offensively, deep. No matter what they're doing, they have 8 minutes of practice that will really manipulate how they play the lanes on the show.
Right.
So they can choose if they want to play left, they can choose if they want to play right.
Yeah.
And each of these bowlers have different strengths.
Yeah.
But for game one, I think it goes to the experience under the lights, and I'm going back in.
All right. Well, in the meantime, guys, I did get the polls working, so I'm going to put a poll up for the people that are on YouTube. Versus Martell. And in the meantime, we'll let you guys vote, see who you think is going to seek this out. I think being at this is the house channel, and our boy Pack is in here. I think I know where it's going to go. But nonetheless, guys, there is a poll on YouTube right now. See what you guys do, because anytime we go through the poll, whatever you guys take is who we're going to say wins and moves on to the next match. So in the meantime, before we get into that, we'll just go into our second match. Is the only right-hander, so we can talk a little bit about Kyle Sherman, who hasn't bowled a lot. He's had some injuries, some other things that he's been dealing with, so he's only bowled a handful of events. And the handful of events he's bowled, he's made match play at all of them. I mean, we all know Kyle's such a bowler out here. But he's a lone righty, which makes him kind of a lefty.
It does.
It makes him a lefty. How much do you think that might play in his favor or not? Because right-handers aren't used to that. We're like, when we made the Scorpion telecast and Belmo was the only righty, I was worried he was just going to beat up reins in. I was worried because he has the whole lane to himself, but also right-handers aren't used to that. Like, they aren't used to, like, having no work off of and build off of. So I'm curious about playing his advantage or not.
I think that it'll all depend on how Kyle Sherman uses those 8 minutes. I think if he can blow up the spot and use it the right way, I think he's going to be very tough to beat anyway.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you have a plan and it does not work, you got to scramble to find something fast, or your game's going to be pretty low defense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just something that he's not quite used to. It's just not what right-handers ever have to deal with. That doesn't mean they don't know how to bowl on fresh, but the progression to kind of stay in that zone, because like when we bowl on telecast, we don't usually progress too much away from where we are. Even if we're trying to run the ladder, you don't really break them down that quickly. So finding a way for him to kind of stay in the zone that's going to work wherever that is kind of the key as the lone right-hander, in my opinion. But I can see scores. I have some insight on what scores might turn into, because Justin Knowles is your technical 1 seed for this telecast. And I heard him say yesterday on the unofficial practice, whoever's getting to me, I'm destroying the lanes. I want it to be a grind. Which is kind of crazy, and that surprises me that he wouldn't do that. He just doesn't seem like that type of bowler, because he strikes when they're like strike. But I don't see him as the type to manipulate a pair to be gross and turn it into like a grind thing. I don't take him as that kind of bowler.
I talked to him. What that tells me is that he is confident.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has one way or another that he wants to play the lanes tonight.
Yeah.
So that tells me that he's open to whatever, as long as the scoring pace, he feels he's on the right side.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Whenever you have all lefties, you're like, well, I just got to outbowl the lefty on my pair. They're gross for him. They're gross for me as well. I hope better. So,
but how gross can he make it? You get 8 shots total. You can choose to throw 8 shots on one lane. You can go 4 and 4. It's totally up to you. How gross do you think he can make it in 8 shots?
I don't know, because I'm not sure. I think Packy's going to throw urethane. I think Martell is 50-50. But either way, Martell's going to be left. So, and then you got Kyle, who's not going to mess up the left side lane. And then you got Eric, who's going to throw urethane. And then
Eric's going to throw urethane, but I think he's going to throw urethane from the left.
Yeah, I know, but I think having a couple guys tucking it, a couple guys going at it, they're going to get real tricky down, I think, for the lefties. So I don't know how much more he wants to make them gross. You know, whenever there's going to be urethane from here, and up the lane as well. I'm not unsure, but quick surprise. Packy crushes
92%.
Packy crushes the bowl. I think we got some biased fans in there. I think we agree with that as well, though. So we will take Packy. Moving on to bowl against Kyle Sherman. So Packy versus the lone right-hander, aka left-hander.
Okay.
Who do we
So
like here?
in Kyle's favor here. So as bowlers, we all practice usually by ourselves sometimes, and so we follow our own rules. So this could just be like a practice session for Kyle Sherman.
Good. I've never really thought.
Where if he starts striking, he may never stop.
Right.
So that's always going to be a factor here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. And Kyle has all the tricks where he is a hook and right-hander, but he can stay right with the urethane ball. I mean, he won on Cheetahs, and he can do anything on planes. So I'm curious as to what his game plan is being the only righty. I think that is more important than what the left's going to be because I think the left isn't going to be bad early. I think the first game scores, which the first game scores, Jim told us all the unders have hit on the first match scores. So the over/under is 440 for Martel versus versus Packy, and not one of them has hit the over yet, which surprises me because they haven't been super hard. I feel like the right lane's a little tricky, but I mean, just it goes to show that they're not as easy as you think. Obviously, once you get on the TV. So I'm just curious as to how that goes into game 2 for Packy's ball reaction because he's going to be at that transitional period where it's like, okay, I'm going to have to make a pretty big move by the time I get to match 2 because you're going to have 2 lefties throwing urethane or reactive depending on what Martel does. And he's not just going to stay in the same spot. And notoriously, TV pairs get tighter down lane. So you got to adapt to that as well. So I don't know. I'm very curious on this one. I really am.
What I love that's working in Packy's favor is momentum.
Yeah, I would
The
agree.
advantage you're coming off the high from the win, and he wants to play up the crowd. You've already heard it on the crowd earlier in your guys' match that they're behind him. So the momentum that Packy's going to have, I don't know if Kyle can match it.
But here's the thing: the devil's advocate of that is Kyle also loves that atmosphere. He also played other sports. He likes to get a little louder. He likes that atmosphere. So I don't think it would rattle Kyle as much as it does a Martel or any of the other guys. I think Kyle would lean into it. Because Kyle
I
also,
think so too.
because Kyle also has a big following with the Brad and Kyle channel as well. So it's nothing they're not used to. Where a Martel, Eric, and a Justin, they're not really that atmosphere as much. Not to say they aren't afraid of it, but I think if anyone can adapt to that the quickest, it's Kyle.
I
I
agree.
think it wouldn't play into his favor or against him that much. But still, even though if you're in your head and everyone's like Packy, and then you're like, why can't they say my name? It gets in your head a little bit.
I think that Kyle can get some fans on his side pretty quick.
I would agree.
He plays to it early in the match. I think they're behind him
I would agree, but
to the same degree as they are behind Kyle. I don't think the fans are going to pick a favorite.
I agree. I think they just kind of even out the atmosphere a little bit because bowling fans. I always talk about this. I wish that if you didn't want someone to win, you would just boo them. I think. I'm serious. I want it to be more like mainstream sports, where if you go to a basketball game and a home team game, and LeBron James is the away team, you're booing him when he has the ball. Bowling should be like that. Now, don't be extra with it and you're yelling some vulgar stuff. But I want the atmosphere to be more like regular mainstream sports. So I think people will just match energy. If Packy's a little loud and then Kyle's like, hey guys, I want you to be loud too, they'll just both be on the same level and then just let the best entertainer win. I feel like
I think that would be a very entertaining.
that's what we want. That's what we
No
and Packy did.
scores outside of it. I think that would be a fun match to watch.
I agree. I'm really 50-50 on this one. The journalist and Keven, I'm really 50-50 because I can see where Packy gets caught up in transition a little bit and Kyle just comes out striking because he doesn't really have to change his lane that much, So I don't know. And right now the poll is at 50% Kyle.
It's close. Well, let's not forget that last year, just to cartel, Kyle did
You're right.
his bit. So
You're right.
Kyle's bowl for a major in front of this crowd.
You're right. You are right. I kind of did forget about that. And not to downplay him making a telecast, but he had just the perfect passage to get there last year at the Masters. He had a lot of guys blow a lot of scores. He just eked by. And then Packy even said it here that he looked at Kyle's score sheet the second round of match play, and there's a lot of 2-0s pulled at him. And he was like, he was bowling good too. He was striking a lot, but he also had guys that weren't bowling that well. So he moved way up the ladder whenever he got there. Because I think Kyle was in like 13th to 14th, and then he got to whatever seed he is now, the 7th seed technically. So I don't know on 50-50. Kyle is plus 325 to run the ladder tonight. Pax plus 650. Which plus 325, I still feel like it's a pretty high for Kyle. But I think I'm gonna go Kyle.
I like the Kyle play. I think it's completely determined on how he handles this crowd. Now, this is going to be the first time that his daughter Maya is going to be watching him in person.
Oh, they're here.
So, as a recent new father, that can weigh on you.
Yeah,
Or the better. Or the better. It can be, but it's the support.
That's it.
It's knowing that, even if I fail, I get to go back there with my loved ones.
Right.
And I'm very torn on who to choose to match, but I am very excited if this match happens.
I think it's gonna be like a one-hit match. Like it's gonna come down to like a 10th-hit match at the end. Someone misses in the 10th or something. I think it's gonna be very close.
It's gonna be a must.
I'm gonna give the edge to Kyle. I think Aki gets caught up in the transitional period. He falls behind a little bit on an adjustment, and Kyle's ball reaction is just a little better, and I think that edge gets him up. But I agree. As we had a donation here that says Keven Pack with the most entertaining match of the PBA this year. Keep it up. And Kyle and Packy could one up.
I think they can match.
They can at least match it for sure.
No, it's. I think it's going to be up to Kyle. I think Packy's for it. I think it's Kyle.
I'll give you the insight. Packy wants it to get louder. He was like, how do I plan it again? Because last time you were just like, hey, let's get loud the whole time. And then everyone's like, oh, let's do it. And he's like, he's trying to figure out how to do it. And I was like, I'll just get loud for you. I just want to, the fans loved it. Like the feedback on it was crazy. And I think Kyle would feed into it. But I'm going to go Kyle one hit over Pack, like 237 to 228. Like it's one hit behind the 60-40 Kyle, which kind of surprises me just a little bit.
You guys live? Real stuff?
Yeah, we're live.
Good? Is it good?
Do you want to come speak?
I want to get a question.
Come on,
I want a
Bring
question.
in Rob Stone.
You guys are
Rob
really doing this.
Stone is here. Yeah, this
Have a seat.
Welcome to my set.
We do-
I'm not going to take your
we
seat.
do it through the PBA. So,
You do? So this
do
is
you
on the
guys
up and
know-
up?
Yeah. Do you guys know who this man is? A legend himself.
I'm John Fanta.
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
exactly.
How are you? Good to see you. Somebody got a question for us here?
We have all kinds
Because
of
I'm tired of
questions.
hearing who you think is going to win and by what score. We need some fresh content.
I mean, we just.
Did
you
I
just
see?
come in and
Yeah.
brag on it. You know like that?
I know what I'm doing right now.
Someone said the GOAT.
Who's
That's what
that?
they said. Someone said the GOAT.
Elmo's
I've missed
bowling
seeing
today?
you. No, they said you're the GOAT.
Oh,
You're the-
God.
Hi, Rob. I've missed seeing you.
Miss you too. Miss you too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the legend. We have more insight than you guys do because we had a bull all week. So that's why we
I
get.
understand.
That's-
I just
you gotta
I just
do
come in.
nitty-gritty.
I come in hot.
That's fine.
I figure out what the hell
You're the
happened this week.
personality. Yeah, exactly.
Right,
You
right,
just come in
right,
and say a couple of phrases.
Yeah, cool phrases. Give me a cool. All right, people have. Give me a cool
Everyone's
phrase. I need
everyone's
a.
saying
Need a
handball.
bowling phrase.
I need a fresh.
A new one.
He will work it onto the show
We'll figure
tonight.
out a way. Make it clean-ish.
Uh-huh.
Clean-ish.
I'll write them down as they come in,
Okay.
and I'll bring
Then
them.
hand
to
me
you.
a note card. Spell it
Can
hyphenatically.
I make one for you too?
You can, but I'm gonna sniff it out because I guarantee I'm gonna figure out what yours
Mine's gonna be
is.
a good one. You know I'm good at that stuff.
All right, back to work.
All
Back to
right.
work. You want me to zoom in here and get some nice shots? You guys look good.
No, we're
Beautiful
good.
cameo.
If we zoom in too much, they'll see we're
Yeah,
impossible.
they'll see what we
We're
actually do.
impossible.
High def.
Rob Stone, everyone, the legend. Didn't know he was here, honestly, but we got him for the major. That's cool.
I love that.
Back to the nitty gritty, guys.
I gotta
You
say
want
my
some
piece.
phrase, we'll get it. Yeah, let's see it.
I think transition does not hit Packy in the game two. I think in your Scorpion show, I think Packy bowled a great game both against you and against Russo.
Yeah.
I think one shot cost him. I think he bowled a great match. He ran into some pin carry, but I don't know if that gets him. I think he lives and learns.
Okay. I like that.
I'm going with Packy for game.
All right. I like that. I want to go for Becky. I'm not be biased. I'm thinking like strategically. I think the rice is gonna be a hair nicer, just barely. But everyone did say Kyle, so we're gonna roll with the fans.
No,
Even though
of course.
we'll keep in your head
We
that
know.
you said Pack. So if that happens, you can be like, I was right. You guys are all pretty dumb. So the next match we will see first time show major Eric Jones, youngster, two-handed lefty. You talked to him for a brief second after when we were down there. He's asking, "Are you nervy?" And he was like, yeah. And then you're like, you want to step away so we can talk for a second because he was standing next to
I'm trying to get some info from the bowler, so we were kind of close to earshot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's go over here and let's hear what you have to say.
So what did you guys speak on?
So he wants to play the lanes further right.
Okay.
He thinks he can outlook any other lefty on this telecast, and he has a lot of power.
He smacks on the ball.
If
He
it
has a
comes
high
down
rep
to a
rate.
carry contest, he is going to be extremely hard to beat against anyone.
I agree.
Not just in this telecast, but on.
See, now when we're talking just strictly bowling, I agree. But the first thing I talk about is how much our nerves going to come into play for a first time telecast, major telecast. You're going to bowl, most likely, we think it's either going to be Kyle or Packy, two guys that have been on TV numerous times, have won not numerous times, but they've won. Like, all that build up makes it hard to slow down the brain, make a couple like good shots to start. How much does that come into play?
That's the X factor.
That's
You don't
always
know.
the X factor.
We can't predict how Eric's going to bowl.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
can have the best ball reaction, but he may not be able to throw good shots.
The thing is, if you look at Dio, Bernard won earlier this week, and he was in the same exact boat, same exact position. But Dio has such a calm personality that I was like, I don't think he'll be that nervous because he is so calm, anyways. I don't think he'll get too high or low. Eric, not so much. Eric rides a little bit more of a wave, not that bad, but Eric has a little bit more personality to him and things like that, to where I think the nerves will kind of magnify how he feels if he's nervous or whatever the case may be. And I just always give the edge to the guy. Always.
I love
Look
it.
at Shota.
It's hard. That's what I can see happening tonight. I can only see if Dio is very good friends with Eric.
Right.
And Eric was behind Dio that entire show watching.
Right.
How much does it impact you if you watch Packy do well? Are you just sitting back, just raring for the next tournament to go when you get your chance?
I mean, yeah, you just kind of live and learn from that, where it's like, okay, I see how he handled that. I can talk to him after, whatever the case may be. But it's a little different because I've been there multiple times. Where it's your first time telecast, you can't really prepare.
You can't.
Everyone tells you, so many people are like, it's going to go so fast, you got to try to slow everything down. And then it's like, but that's not how it works for everybody. My first telecast, it didn't go super fast, like everyone said. It felt like a normal game. But I don't think I'm the example, or some people might be like, yeah, it did. I looked up, and because if you start off like bad shot, and then the other guy starts on front three, you look up, you're like, I'm down 40, and it's frame 5. Oh my God, what just happened? You blink and it happens.
I think if things go bad early in your first match, it's hard to dig yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Not many people that I know have been able to dig themselves out of an early hole in their first ever TV appearance.
I agree. I just think the nerves come into play too much. The bowling is so mental. So if you're not fully mentally sharp, you're a little distracted by just the atmosphere, your first time on TV, who you're bowling against, if they start off hot or not. I think that just blurs the whole picture pretty quickly. And then it's like, oh, I look up and I'm down 43 frames left. You know, it just happens so fast. So I got to give the edge to Kyle. I just think Kyle's going to have a decent ball reaction, and I think he's going to handle the moment better. Simple as that. I don't think it's going to be anything more.
I mean, with Kyle, again, he has a game under his belt. You have that built-in momentum, but you have that less transition.
Yeah.
If he has 10 frames already, he knows what each lane's giving him, and he's already predicted the next move, if he even needs it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I'm curious as to how much Kyle will move. Like, if I was ball ripping him, I would say, hey, this is the striker from. Let's try to kind of stay in that zone. Let's not try to get too far out of that zone and progress to where you get across the lane. But you just don't know. I just don't know. We've seen it very few times where the right-hander is the only right-hander. And Belmont got beat game 1. So we didn't get to see how it progressed for him. He lost to Jesper, and that was that. So
the last 2 shows where I've seen this many left-handers and only one right-hander, I don't think a right-hander's won a match. The other that comes to mind is when EJ led the World Championships when Gary Faulkner won.
Yeah, really? That was a while ago.
I don't know if there's another this many left-handers and just one right-hander.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But
so we're talking about that being the advantage. But if it's been the last 2 tournaments have gone that way, will it be different tonight?
well, see, and the thing I would say is, without sounding like a biased left-hander, like we're used to with no traffic, and with when you bowl on the patterns we bowl on, yes, they've been easier this year, but overall they're still tougher patterns. They're still bowling on 2-to-1, 3-to-1s. When you have no traffic, it's hard to handle that sometimes, and right-handers just aren't used to that. So when you get on that side of things, they're like, man, I don't have a little bit of friction to the right of me. What now? What am I? It's not even that they can't do that. It's just like, okay, what shapes do I usually see? Like I never see this type of shape. So I can see where his ball reaction isn't great, but I just don't think Eric's gonna bowl a very good game. That's nothing against Eric. For anyone that watches the pre-shows, I'm always on the side of the first-time guys on TV. Just don't handle it well. We saw Mikey split the other night. He bowled 160, and the dude bowled amazing to get there. And when we were talking to BJ before and after BJ lost, he was like, "I think Mikey's gonna run them over." Like he's got the trick, whatever, and he just didn't bowl great. And it's just like a moment that's just hard to handle. It's just because you can't prepare yourself for this. You don't get to practice being on national television. You're there or you're not. So I'm gonna be on the side of, even if Kyle's ball reaction isn't great, I think he's just gonna outgrind Eric, and Eric's not gonna bowl a very good game. Especially if you say he's gonna hook it. I don't think that's the play.
If it's not developed enough, and if Packy's not already hooking it,
I don't
I
think
think
it's
there's
the play.
too many variables creating that ball reaction that makes Eric so dangerous.
Right.
So with that, I think I'm going to have to give it to the guy who's going to be more comfortable on TV and in their ball reaction they have control over. So I think I have to pick the guy.
I do too. I don't love the idea that Eric wants to outhook everybody, because what we bowled on the World Championships, even though we had 9 lefties, we could have had some traffic. No one really super hooked it. Like I know that there was like the one game I super hooked it was against you, and we bowled a big game, but that pair was on fire.
And it loved us. That pair loved us.
That was the only reason that we even hooked is because Packy burnt up 5 big time on that pair, and we just had to move in. I went broke them my first shot. But other than that, most of the lefties were like keep it pretty in front of them. And I don't think they're going way around the pattern is really the play because they're so tight down.
There are a lot tighter in the arena.
They are way tighter down lane. And I don't, if there's not enough like friction to the left, which I don't think there will be, because guys will be throwing dirt, I don't think he's going to be able to see his ball do the right thing. If he gets back further left, he won't know the ball.
Even if it does, there are not. So in the main bay, there was a lot of hits that would be in light pocket switch zone that you could just bank on strike. On that television pair down there,
You don't get the lightning.
the practice pair, the off hits are rare. Like,
No, there's no
you can get them every now and then, but you better hope it's in the middle of a string, or else you can look down. And now, I will say that shooting a single pin on TV, everyone thinks about how do I get good ball reaction? How do I strike? You don't know how you're going to act when you're leaving a single pin.
Yeah.
That pin is a
That's all
lot
you
smaller
think
and
about
it's
is
a lot
tracking.
further away.
Right. I agree. I missed one. That was my first time missing a spare on TV. I like the 15 times I've been on TV. Finally happened. Dang it. I agree. So, where was this question at? We got a question here. This question: how much do the TV lights play a role for the lefties? So, to give you guys some insight, they now went to LED lights, where it's nowhere near as hot on the set as it used to be like last year or 2 years ago, where you would get on set and it'd be like 12 degrees hotter, and it would really change how the lanes played. It still does a little bit. They hook a little bit more on the fronts, and they are a little bit tighter down lane when it comes to reflections, but it's not really hotter on set now. So it doesn't play as much as a factor as it used to, because it used to be drastically, drastically different. I don't sweat when I'm bowling. When we get on TV a couple years ago, I'm like, do I look like I'm out of shape and like need to go to the bathroom? And so I don't think it plays a huge factor. I think it's more the atmosphere that's going to mess with the first timers more than the lights and what they do to the lane. So, and as these guys are practicing behind us now, we have a monitor actually on the other side of this camera that's pointing to us, so we can kind of see where guys are playing right now. So I'm curious to see as to where Eric Jones is going to play him, because he said he wants to hook it. I don't love that idea. I really don't.
See, I don't love it.
I
love that. I think Eric Jones is very good at it. So I may not love it that it works, but I love that Eric is sticking to his strengths and what kind of got him.
If there was a time that he could hook it, it's when there's the other lefties on the film. So maybe it does develop, but I don't think that when we bowled our telecast in Scorpion, we were all going reactive, and they didn't even develop that. But we hooked it. Like I hooked it a good amount, but it was still so tight down lane, and they're all throwing dirt tanks. So I don't know that it's going to get to a point where you can go around and pattern.
I don't know if he can still his ball speed down.
Yeah, I'm
He's
curious.
got the rev rate, he has the power, but it's so tight down lane, even before the year. So I think that if he can find a way to make it work, it could last in the whole telecast, but if not, it can sink in pretty quickly.
When it comes to the sake of viewership and like storylines, I would love to see Eric Bolo and like go like move on. I just like right now he just threw a shot pretty steep at like 14, 15 to like 4-5. I don't know.
Let's
I'm
bring up
skeptical.
how many PTQ bowlers have already won this season on tour.
Boog won
You
one.
got Boog, you
Yeah.
got Dio,
Dio just won
and
one.
maybe Eric.
Why not? Why not Eric?
They're proving that
Why not Eric?
PTQs, they're ready,
Yeah,
and they can perform.
I agree. So you got to see.
I think Eric's no different.
So do you take Eric over Kyle? You still go Kyle?
I still go Kyle, but I do think that if things go Eric's way early, I think he's going to have confidence and he can get comfortable quick.
I just want to see good bowling. But I'm going to go with just what I see over time. I just think he's not going to be quite prepared for the moment. I hope he proves me wrong. I'm going to go with Kyle. Same with 87% of the poll went with Kyle. No big shock there. I think a lot of guys usually go lean towards the veterans first, just because not even the fact that they don't think Eric's good. They just don't know Eric like they know a Kyle Sherman.
Right.
So that being the case, we're rocking with that. So we will go to our quote-unquote title match, which whoever wins this match will move on to the final top 5 step ladder tomorrow at noon on FS. Big Fox.
We're on Big Fox tomorrow.
Big Fox tomorrow to bowl for the World Championships title. So they will be bowling against a hometowner, and Justin Knowles.
A big following for Justin here
A hometowner. So
at Thunderbowl.
so the first thing I gotta ask is how much does that play into his favor or against us? What is the factor of being a hometown kid? Because I've been in that position. I bowled for a title in Springfield last year, and the pressure's just like next level. It's like, all right, it's already hard enough bowling for a title, but now all my friends and family are here.
There are so many advantages to being a homecoming bowler, but they go out the window with the pressure that they give you. No one knows these lanes more than Justin Knowles on this television.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think Justin's going to have a following here, and if the crowd stays loud for Kyle, just how loud are they going to be for Justin? They will not root against Justin.
And Justin feeds into it. When he was bowling match play, he would like throw a double to start the match. He was like, I want to hear you. Like he was telling them in match play, like
He was down 0-2 when he did that. He climbed all the way
When
back.
we bowled next to each other, he was to our right, and then like the third frame, he struck, and he's like, "Come on, I want to." I was like, "Dang,
And he used that to win that match.
that's early." Yeah, I do love anyone that has energy like that. I'm on the side of because it's just entertaining. At the end of the day, as much as like I understand bowlers being even keel and keeping their emotions in check, I grew up not a bowler. I grew up with playing sports, basketball, and stuff. Where when you get a bucket, you're letting everyone know and you're getting loud. So if he strikes and he's like, "Come on, let's get loud," I'm all for that, and I think he will feed into that big time. He bowled on the here.
He has pulled on the same pattern.
Did he strike? Did he?
He struck
doubled.
and
I feel like he doubled.
I don't think he opened, but he struck and spared.
I mean, I think it's gonna be an interesting one, especially because, like I said earlier, Justin said that he wants to mess up the left part of the lane for whoever's gonna get to him. What if it's Kyle and he just made him for no reason?
If it's Kyle, he has 8 shots. There's no way he's going to make it.
Right, but will they already be hard by then? Is he gonna try to make them easier? Like if you have 8 shots and the left kind of looks crappy, and Kyle's been running the ladder to get to him, does he take 4 shots to waste to try to break down a spot, like a little more defined spot?
I think you have to.
You have to, I think.
I think unless you're that confident and you see something early on in your shots that tells you that you're going to strike a lot, I think you need to wall them up a little bit. Now, how much can you do? We don't know.
Not much. I just feel like not much at all. But as I was saying earlier that I was worried about Kyle and how he's going to attack the lanes as the lone right-hander, I've watched Kyle throw 3 shots, and he's watched that every time. And he just went dead through the face for a 3-6-10.
So Kyle did not practice on the TV pair.
No, he did not.
All bowlers, both on today's and tomorrow's show, got time on the TV pair to practice for an hour. Kyle was not there to show up.
Yeah.
He took a rep check, and he's going to come out here. He said he may watch, but if I go, who am I going to watch? It's all lefty.
I mean, that's true, but it's just, you always take the advantage of like kind of getting comfortable to the pair and like throwing some shots and stuff. He hasn't bowled on this. He bowled here last
He
year.
hasn't
but-
bowled in for a year.
Yeah, I know. He hasn't
Not
been
fair.
bowling much at all. I think you got to take advantage of all of the practice you can get, especially when it comes to the pairs and stuff. I'm just very curious how it's going to go. Justin's throwing a shiny reactor ball right now. Kyle's currently playing like 18. If Kyle hooks it that much, I think he's going to be in trouble.
Good point for what, 10 minutes now?
I don't think you can overhook like that. He just went 18-6, as we see on the Specto. I don't know if Kyle is going to help his ball reaction by hooking it that much early.
It all depends what he does for 90 minutes. If he plays
Unless
10,
he just throws a bunch of shots up 7,
He plays-
like 5-6. I don't know.
one thing I'll say about Justin here is having the hometown, it is hard to accept that. It's different to your fans.
Yeah.
So I don't think Justin's planning on winning. I think he's making sure he does not lose.
Right.
There's a difference between wanting to win and hating to win. I think Justin tonight will hate to lose, and those guys are going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I can see this in so many ways. Just because Justin said, whoever gets to me, I'm making them hard. Well, he's assuming a lefty's going to get to him. Does Kyle handle the right part of the lane the right way? I'm just thinking strictly to bowler. If Kyle gets to him, and there's so much traffic on the left, I think Kyle gets through this one.
I mean, Kyle's got 8 minutes, 8 shots, and then he's got 2 games already. So this will be game 3.
Yeah.
Now, he may run into some transition, and because he didn't practice yesterday, he may not know the exact moves to make.
Right.
Practicing on your own and practicing in front of fans, in the lights, in the crowd, it's different.
Yeah.
It's not the same as back home.
No, not at
So
all.
if he can make the right guesses, keep up with the moves, throw great shots, I think that's what it's going to break down to.
I love the energy that Justin's going to bring. And if he starts off hot early, he comes out with like a 3-bagger, he ain't losing.
I'm
Yeah,
kind of with
yeah,
you. Now,
look.
I know in this we're talking about the crowd being with Packy and Kyle. They're going to stay with Kyle in the next match against Eric.
Yep.
And I don't know if they're going to match it the same way they're going to match Justin. So I think Justin's going to have the crowd.
I agree. And man, whether like Kyle's not paying, he'll have the crowd as well, but it just plays that factor. You bowled matches where like even like match play, and you bowl against a guy that has a little bit of a crowd behind you, it kind of just sticks to your brain a little bit.
It can get to you.
It does. When I was bowling against Jesper and I was up 2-0 in that third game, he was kind of coming back on me a little bit. The Storm guys and some of like the overseas guys showed up and started getting a little loud. I was like, really? Like, oh, okay. It just kind of sticks out to you a little bit. Justin comes out with a 3-bagger and he's screaming at the crowd and stuff, and they all get loud, and it's all his friends and family, his wife and stuff. Kyle's gonna be like, all right, I gotta be the guy to be the bearer of bad news and break the hometown kid of winning this. You know, so it becomes that competitive edge of like, all right, I gotta live up to the moment for his moment and my moment now. So, but I'm scared because Kyle's currently playing 19 right now, and I haven't seen him hit the pocket yet.
I don't want to base it too much off what he's doing in practice
I
because he
agree.
did not practice yesterday. I think he's finding out maybe what not to do,
Yeah,
which can be just as important as what to do.
yeah, it's true. It's
But-
true.
I think if Kyle's making it this far, he already has an idea of what to do.
Right.
Now, Justin talking about making it ugly means that he doesn't have a set game plan as to what he wants to do.
Right.
He's got a bunch of different thoughts going through his head, and he's going to have to commit really quick because those 8 shots are all you have before that game starts.
Yeah, exactly. And then the game goes by real quick too, because you're just like, I like me personally. I can't break down one pair by myself that much, like that quickly. It's like, you know, when you break down your starting pair, like qualifying or match play and stuff, you can get a little bit of friction out there, but not much. So I bet you're a little different. You have a lot more rev rate and stuff, so I feel like you could get some more off lanes a little quicker.
Says the two-hander.
You have a higher rev rate than me, and we'll find out tomorrow when you're on the telecast. As my spec always says about right at 500 even. I bet you're a little higher.
It says 440 for me. You can watch the PBA.
Really? Oh my god, that actually.
I got no ego, so I will take that.
That super surprises me because it's just in the matter of how you do it. Like you clobber it, like kind of up hit it, so it just seems like it starts up so much quicker. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm so torn on this because I can just see it going so many ways. Where can Kyle shipwreck himself? Is my question. Like if Justin's bowling a right-hander, does Kyle shipwreck himself, or does he have the world and it's just not even a close match? Like I don't see this match being a close match.
Don't see. I see it as being outside of that second match where we have Kyle and Packy. I see this as being a one-hit match.
Really?
I do. I don't
I
think
just think
that.
because of the atmosphere, it will turn into that. But I think like what the lanes are asking, it's one of the guys. lefty's either going to be good or the right's going to be good. I don't think they stay the same.
I mean, Justin's proved that he can bowl under transition. We saw it in match play
Right.
in the other bay.
Yep.
But Kyle hasn't been able to follow his own transition in the other bay. So it can benefit both. But it's already in the title match. It's already benefited.
Yeah. So who do you go with? Because I don't know.
I can't root against either one of these guys. I want this to be a great match.
You
I
have to
want
be
it to be entertaining.
You have to be a journalist. You have to pick.
I think at this point, I'm gonna go with Justin. I am gonna go with Justin, the
Got to
hometown
win
guy.
one game, hometown guy, riding the wave.
If he can clue into that one good memory that he's had on these lanes from the amount of times he's bowled on them and hang on to any of those games,
Right.
I think he has that, and that's Kyle has the one from the Masters.
Yeah. I think I'm with you, honestly. I think Justin has one game to pull. I think he's going to ride the crowd early. I think he's going to build on the atmosphere that's going to be built around him being a hometown kid. And I'm very curious as to what Kyle's ball race is going to look like. I thought Belmont was going to whoop all of us, and he didn't make it out of the first match. So I'm with you. I think Justin does do it.
I don't think that you can make it easy enough on the right lane to consistently strike, whether left-handed or right-handed.
Right.
I think you can get to the pocket, but I think there's going to be some unfair shot on the right lane for Thunderbowl.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you on that one, too, just because I'm going to go off of what I'm seeing with Kyle right now. He's throwing shots at like 19. I feel like he shouldn't be at 19 until maybe he gets to Justin, maybe. And if he's already throwing shots at 19, that's a scare. It does. It just scares me a little bit. I think he's got to think more like a left-hander. True.
I think
Stay
Justin,
further right, break him down, go for it.
Justin has the whole telecast watch what the left
I agree.
and I think those 8 shots are going to be important. Just like any other match, I think Justin's going to have the feedback from what the other lefties have done that has worked or may not have worked, and I think he can use that to his advantage in this type of match.
I agree. I think I'm going to go with Justin as we're going with the fans because my real pick overall is Taki's running the ladder and he gets the Sunday to pull. That's my real pick. But we had to go with the fans. You look at the fan voting. Ohio is winning the fan voting 69-31. I think there's some favoritism in there a little bit. Just a little bit.
Fans are allowed to.
Of course. That's what
We're
fans
allowed
are
to be
for.
wrong. That's the best part of this.
This is what fans are for, yeah. And I don't get paid any more or less for having the right or wrong pick. So I've said what I've said, and I'm sticking to it. I agree, though. I think it is Justin moving on. He's just got to win one game. I think he's going to ride the wave. Simple as that.
I think this is going to be a very exciting telecast. We're going to have fresh faces. We're going to have people that have been there before. And I think we're going to have good
Just because they're going to pump up the crowd.
high scores and low scores. I think it's going to be exciting. I think these fans are going to be alive. I think they're going to be loud. And how these people handle it, we're going to find out.
So that leads me to my next 2 questions. What's the highest score? What's the lowest score? Because they haven't been very high scoring on TV. Unless you're EJ Tackett, who's shot like 260.
I feel like that's always the exception. Unless you're
Right.
attackers.
Right. But I just feel like scores might not be quite that high just because of it, simply because of the crowd and just the moment.
I think the highest score is going to be 247.
247.
247.
Is that early on or late on?
So we had Packy in game 2.
We have packing game 2. Oh, we have packing in
I'm
game-
giving that Packy game 2.
Okay.
I said he was winning game 2.
So you think he? Okay.
I'm giving Packy game 2 because Shrew comes in. He's not going to mess with the left, so Packy has an idea of what it's doing.
Yeah.
I'm giving Packy 247. Game 2.
Okay. What's the low game bowl and who is it? Throw him under the bus.
Oh, I don't want to put it on.
I have a question for you.
All right, Randy. Let's hear it.
We are talking to Randy Peterson right now.
We're getting all the guys.
Is it okay to have a tournament where there's over 450 bowlers and the highest lefty finishes in the top 70, only one of them? Okay,
So, should we repeat the
so
question
one,
if they didn't hear it?
one left-hander finished in the top 70 at the Masters.
Yeah, one lefty finished 70th at the Masters out of
That's just the
450.
first part of my question.
Yeah.
So,
Is that fair?
So-
No.
is that fair?
Because you got to look, in my opinion, and we've had a lot of talks about this. He has a spreadsheet about it. You got to look at the ratio of righties to lefties, what percentage makes up lefties and righties, and 0% of lefties
Right.
made any money there.
So, of the prize fund, of the entire prize fund of the Masters, 2% of it went to left-handers.
So
I
don't know anything
believe
about
that
them.
would be
That doesn't
fair.
sound fair.
I believe
Not
that'd be fair if the field had 2% left-handers. That was not the case.
Right.
Now go ahead and flip it to the other question you're gonna ask.
What's your problem with having 7 out of 9 lefties on the
I love every second because I'm left-handed.
You know, the
It's kind
whole
of-
reason for the inception of the lane maintenance committee, the lane
I
maintenance
feel like we should get Brandy a mic so
was
they
to
can
try to make the lanes fair and equitable for everyone. And they've proven for 30 years that that's not real easy to
It's
do.
hard to do.
So, you know what? Look, 2024 has been brutal for the left-handers. So stop it. They have a nice swing. Leave them alone. Let's some left-handers.
I agree.
That's all I got to
Thank
say.
you, Randy. Randy's for the people, and the people are us left-handers. You just said, let us have our week.
Even though y'all hate me on social media, I get that. But, I mean, truth be told, there's nothing wrong with what we have.
I'm not hating. I love it. I wish I would have bowled 4 pins better so I could have been bowling today, and then Randy could have just done this by himself. But nonetheless,
I can
yeah.
set in for you and get it to the ground.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But I mean, I agree. It's just hard to combat the lefty to righty. It's 2 different games played in the same game.
It's so hard to do, but what they've kind of done this week is how hard they've been using left this year. Now, I have the information on my phone that given this past week, it's even.
It's evening out. It's just how the matter of how it evened out. It's like we got shut out for a couple weeks and then we had it all. It's just like it's not ideal, but it just is what it is.
It's been so uneven throughout the years that now that's how they've combated it throughout the season. If you look at it individually, not so even. Over the course of the season, now it's more even.
And the good lefties, they just
Find a way.
stick the course. They stay the course. They keep grinding. The next week, if they don't have it, I'll get 20 points. And then all of a sudden they get it. And guess what? They're ready. And the ones that tack it in, gets ready again this week.
Well, that's what I say. The good lefties is when you have it, you don't catch a last check. You make a telecast. You're bowling for a
I saw
title.
that week in and week out for 27 years.
Yeah.
Where
Wait till it's your moment.
Albee,
You gotta see.
Parker,
Yeah, it's not just today's lefties. It is the Hall of Famers like Albee, Parker. Look, I'm repeating what Randy's saying because he doesn't have a mic. I don't know if you guys can hear him or not, so I want to make sure that we're bringing it to you guys.
Yeah.
You know, day 1 of qualifying, 12 games. Block 1, 0. Block 2, nothing. They're just right. The other's like, no, we're done, bro. And then they come in for day 2, the last 6 games, and all of a sudden they change. And
Yeah.
but only because the good ones, the great ones,
Wait around.
they said, hey, they might change. We'll wait. We'll grind it out. We'll stay close. And if they throw us the cheese the next day,
Look out.
Should we get Randy's take on this? So Randy's talking about all these lefties hitting it when they got it. These lefties hit it and got it this week.
yeah,
Who do you think comes out ahead? Do you think it's a lefty? And which one?
I do.
Hold this mic.
I mean, I do think a left-hander is going to win. And I think that the winner's going to come from tomorrow's show because I think they're going to learn a lot about what happens tonight.
Yeah.
Because as we saw in the league series, this pattern over here in the arena can get very tricky. So I think they're going to learn a lot from tonight. They'll play tomorrow. Matt Russo completely dominated in match play. He's loose. He's got a couple of shows under his belt. I think it's Matt Russo.
Wow.
I think it's hard. I think no matter what happens tomorrow, Matt Russo has won the tournament. But who the check and the trophy goes to, I think we're gonna find out. If I had it my way, I'm not gonna finish that sentence, but you already know.
I have my pick, and I'm not gonna say it because you're right here with me. I'll make my decisions tomorrow.
And look out for Graham Fach.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Great.
I love that. Well, I love that we got some insight from Randy, the voice.
We got
of the
Rob
PBA.
and Randy.
Rob and Randy. I mean, it's really the best.
You guys get what
pre-show
Hey,
show
listen, we got Rob. That's all we
ever. He came in earlier, and he immediately was like, "Let me switch it up." So, we'll quickly look at the poll. They say that Kyle mixed it out 71%. I said that earlier. I agree with Justin. Is there anything else you want to add on to this?
I think it's going to be exciting. I really do. I think these fans are going to be great. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see some
I agree. I do. I think the crowd's going to be into it because they kind of saw what it's like whenever me and Packy blow against each other, and then you got guys on here that are high energy. So I agree, it is going to be a fun one. So for everyone that's tuned into the pre-show show, we appreciate you. Graham, thanks for coming out.
Thank you,
Because I would
guys.
be by myself if not. So I'm glad that we got you on here, got some insight from you because you went from 16th to 3rd, which was sick. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow when you're not around because I want to fill up your head. You know what I mean?
Please.
I want to build your head,
Please.
but you know what you did. But nonetheless, guys, go tune in. 1 hour from now is the TV show. We're at 7 p.m. Eastern, FS1. Go watch some bowling. Go cheer from your crowd, from your seat, wherever you're at. Couch don't matter. And if you're here in Detroit, come out and watch because it's gonna be a rowdy one. I feel like it's Saturday night. You can have some drinks and watch some bowling. So nonetheless,
What's better?
yeah, exactly. So that's all we got for you guys. Thank you. We will see you tomorrow morning at the pre-show show at 10 a.m. Eastern, I think. Don't quote me on that, guys, because I just don't be knowing everything on 2 hours before. Oh, it's 10.
It's 10 a.m.
And we'll watch you bowl tomorrow. So appreciate you guys.